you were sexually harassed coming out of training by your training officer. Then you were in IA, and you raised concerns about the punishment that some of the black officers were getting as compared to some of the white officers. Being in IA is a stigma in itself. Am I right about that? Because I know, Joe, you're also in IA too.
Exactly. Yeah. And when you go to internal affairs, that's a prominent position, because now the trust is, we trust that you will police the police. So if you ask me to go in and police the police, then let me do my job. But being in internal affairs, I saw the disparities between white officers and black officers, and how black and brown officers, for minor infractions, they get harsh punishments. But then you have white officers, and they can do some of the most horrible things, or, you know, use of force, use of language, unnecessary force. And yet there's a system that works where, okay, you can write them out of the situation, but it's already set up. So when I brought that up, and I said, why do I keep seeing the same officers, the same white officers come down here with different complaints from different individuals? And I said, so what are we running down here? Repeat offenders? And so it was like, now you can't mute me, because I was never a follower. I'm a leader. I am. So every time I noticed something, I would take it to the supervisor and up the chain. And at one point, they wanted me to charge another female, and I said, I'm not charging her. And if you want me to, that you're going to have to give me a direct order. But see, they're not used to no one standing up against them when they know that you see there's disparities within this division.
What happens, Joe? You want to jump in there?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention the case that she's talking about. We called it the modern day Rosa Parks.
Yes.
A white officer in court told her to move from her seat. Didn't know she was an officer. You know, then she did the right thing because he got belligerent, reported him, filed a complaint. Next thing you know, they got charges on her. They made Sonia charge her.
And this is after I conducted a thorough investigation and charged the white officer. Then they called and said, well, you have to charge her. I said, charge her with what? Courtesy. And then my tongue, I had to hold my tongue, because you're telling me that because this white officer told her to move, well, they could have stopped arguing. She wasn't arguing with him. He was antagonizing. He even, you know, basically, it was racial profiling, because she was undercover. So in plain clothes, she's overt, and yet you're assuming that she's in here for one of these drug busts, but she is the you know, the NED officer. And when I refused to charge her, they gave me a direct order. However, when giving her a direct order, we ended up going to trial. And when it went to trial, and I got up there and I did the same thing, I even had my notebook, my entire case, and I just put it down on the desk, and I said, you see this case right here? I conducted a thorough investigation. I don't even know why we're in here. And she was found not guilty.
Of course. So,
and God rest her soul, she's gone now.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. We got a question, Bob, FOXSOUL question. Are cops scared to snitch or complain about each other? Because we're hearing about you being the darkest shade of blue, and then things happening to you. Other cops are seeing this, and of course, they want to keep their job, they want to keep their pension, their retirement. So are they in a conundrum when this happens? They want to do the right thing, but obviously because of the pushback, they're not.
Yep, that's how it goes. A lot of officers, like you saw it in the case of George Floyd, where the officers did nothing, because then they would expect them to follow the story, whatever story they make up. they expect those officers to follow it. And for them, it's easier to follow the story than to step in and stop him from killing. It would have been, it's easier than them to have stopped the killing of George Floyd.
And I just wanted to reach into the TV and say, get the F off of him.
Exactly.
You know, it was horrible just to watch that.
Yeah, because we're looking, Donnie, everybody's looking, we're just as pissed at the officers that were involved, just like we're pissed at the other officer that was involved in the Rayshard Brooks situation, even though he didn't shoot the gun. If you're alongside the person that kills a person who is unarmed, you are just as guilty. So what should happen to those 3 officers that are charged along with Derek Chauvin? I mean, they're already in jail, but what should happen, in your opinion?
Same thing that would happen to a young Black man who did the same thing.
Yes. I totally agree, because if we going on a drive-by shooting and somebody in the car with me, everybody getting charged with the murder. You know what I'm saying? So the same thing should happen to them. It's the same thing happened to the guy, because they could have stopped him. You could have pulled your partner out of the car and say, partner, don't do that. Don't do that drive-by. You know what I mean? So he's just as guilty, you know what I mean? And we doing something, we're just as guilty. So they should get the same punishment as we as human beings the civilians on the street should get.
And there's no excuse that they are rookies. You have your own mind. You can think. There is no excuse to say they've only been on the job for 4 or 5 days. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, right is right. I mean, you seeing a human die and he's innocently die. I mean, come on, man. That goes without saying. But I'm listening to what you guys. Go ahead, Carrie.
The first training is home training. So it's like, what are they learning at home?
Common sense. I mean, we're going to talk about the training and what should be done a little bit later on the show when it gets to that. But I want to talk more about just the conundrum that some of these guys are in, because alongside of being called the darkest shade of blue or whatnot and being shunned or watch out for this person, you can't do this around them, you're on patrol sometimes. You're in these streets and it's still dangerous out there. And you want to know that somebody has your back. I've heard situations where,
I've been in that situation where I spoke up about the officer that sexually assaulted me. And then when I return, nobody's backing me up.
Same here.
So they transfer me to another station for my safety. But then when I get to that station, everybody already knows who you are.
Exactly.
And they don't want to talk to you.
What's that like? You understand you're there, you know you're out there and you could be in danger and you know nobody has your back.
I didn't care because
exactly
3 people.
Damn. That reminds me of the movie Serpico, Mike. You know
that's what it sounds like, right?
Right, that's crazy to me.
That's some Al Pacino shit right there.
It seemed like all the good cops is on the island by themselves and the bad cops is over there doing their thing. When you're on the island by yourself, I'm like, damn, that's crazy to me, man. That what you guys got to go through, if it's like that, like the police reform needs to happen ASAP. If it's like that.
It's the blue line, the blue lie, and then you have the blue truth.